Your alternative talk radio contact. The Planet. KGRAradio.com.
With infinite complacence, people went to and fro over the earth about their little affairs, serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design, man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting in touch with me. These are some of my favorite things is, the personal stories. And like I said, you sent me those drawings that you did, which are amazing, by the way. I'd never be able to do that in my wildest dreams, is draw something that good. And as I said, I'll probably use the first one you sent. No giveaways to anybody, but you'll hear about it soon. What he drew, something that he saw with his own eyes. I'm going to use it for the episode image because it's a bad to the bone drawing. So Ben, I mean, if you want to jump right in, and it's so cool because you're very specific. This was back Saturday, July 16th, 1994, right? And is it okay to say where this happened?
Yes, it happened in Mountlake, Terrace, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, in my backyard.
All right. And so then how old were you guys? It was you and your friend, right? And you guys were having a sleepover or something?
Yeah, he was my best friend from high school. Yeah, he was 15 and I was 16. And he was very fascinated with like NASA and space, and then he got me kind of into it too. He used to collect those little like micro machine things that were like, with NASA space shuttle and stuff.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, and he used to have a spacesuit too. He actually had one that was like NASA suit, like jumpsuit. It was really cool. And he used to wear that to high school, and people would make fun of him. And I was like, dude, you're crazy. But,
that's cool. He's just like, look, I'm just doing what I do. I'm being me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really into NASA and space, though. We were watching the movie Explorers, and there's a part. Have you seen that movie, Explorers?
It's been so long. Wasn't there a couple very popular, still to this day, actors in that, if I recall?
Yes, River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a part in the movie where the main guy, goes up on his roof and watches the space and the stars. As we were watching that, my friend was spending the night. It was during summer, so he could spend the night whenever. And so he said, let's go up on your roof and let's watch the stars. I'm like, well, I don't want to wake up my parents, I don't want to get, in trouble. He goes, well, what if we go in the backyard? I go, okay, let's do that. So we gathered all these materials, like a notepad. We got some music. I can't remember what else. Oh, a blanket and some snacks. I can't remember exactly what snacks, but. And we put it all in a bin, and we shoved it out my bedroom window, and we climbed out my bedroom window and down the backyard. My window faced out the backyard. And we just laid out in my backyard, and that's how it started. We did that like two or three nights, and then this night I'm going to tell you about the UFO. This was the fourth night that we went out.
Okay, and so this was back-to-back nights. You guys were spending the night hanging out. It's summertime, and then we have something very interesting happen, to say the least.
Yeah. So you want me to just start from going in the backyard?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So we were laying there. We were counting the satellites that went by. We were writing down, like my friend liked to write down the time and which direction the satellite was going. And so if I saw a satellite, I would write it down. If he saw a satellite, then he would write it down. And we got to like pretty late of the night because we went out to about 11:30. Snuck out my window around 11:30. Got out there, laid down, and wrote down everything. And by like 12, I think. Let me see. I wrote it down here. 12:56. We saw the last satellite go by. And then around 1:07 is when we saw this UFO. My friend had a flashlight. It was one of those big, thick flashlights with the big batteries. I think they're V6 batteries, or 6-volt batteries.
Right.
They're kind of like big and fat. Yeah, it was one of those kind of old school flashlights. And he just bought that battery. It was crazy. I'll tell you more about it later in the story, what happens to that flashlight. But he puts the battery in there and whatever, and he's like shining the light up in the sky. And as he does that, this triangle ship, UFO, comes over us and like slowly moves over us with no sound whatsoever and goes past us from right to left. And it goes over me, and then it goes over my friend. And as it goes over my friend, starts going the other way, my friend freaks out and looks at me. And I'm still watching it go over our heads. And as it goes over our head, goes over to my neighbor's yard, it kind of like, this is what freaks me out. It like deteriorizes, it just like fades away into like nothing. Like it just went into a time warp or something. It disappeared. It was weird. It just, it was like, it freaked me out when I saw that happen. And my friend's like freaking out and I'm freaking out, and we're like looking at each other like, what did we just see? And he was like saying, shit, we got to write this down. Because we had the notepad, we were writing down everything. And so I said, well, let's wait till we get back inside and you write down what you saw, and then I write down what I saw. So we don't like contradict each other,
right.
like feed off of each other. And so it was good idea. And so we're still laying there, and he's like, should we go back inside now? And I'm like, yeah, because I was getting freaked out. I was getting kind of scared. The detail of the UFO, what I saw in my eyes, was a triangle-shaped ship. The corners were round. There wasn't like a perfect triangle, but, it's kind of round. And then like each corner of the triangle, there was these weird blue glowy discs like underneath it, but inside the donut, or like a donut. And inside the donut part was glowing blue, but inside the hollow part was like hollow. And there was this weird kind of like faint mist or steam coming out of it. It was kind of weird. And then like, I was focusing on that. My friend was focusing on the whole thing. He was like looking at every little thing. He was telling me more detail about the ship, but I was like mesmerized by the weird glowy blue. It was like, I can't explain it, because the light from the donut was like, it was like a neon light, but it was like more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy.
So you could look up at it without having to look away. It wasn't that bright, or it didn't hurt your eyes.
No, it wasn't that bright. It was like, to me, later on, me and my friend would talk off and on. We kind of felt like it was purposely showing itself to us. Like, oh, look, there's a bunch of kids down on the ground. Let's show. Because we later come to the last time I talked to my friend before he passed away, he told me that he thinks it was government, government made, by the way he says everything was like, you can kind of see rivets and stuff inside. I didn't see the rivets or the tubing. I saw some of the tubing around like some of the donut parts, but I didn't see like in the middle of it.
So
it was kind of
I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's okay. You can ask me questions. I don't mind.
Because I'm just looking at the picture, and then it looks like maybe I don't know if this is more tubing or it's more seams. It looks like the ship did in fact have seams underneath it. Is that from what Rick saw or what you saw?
I kind of saw it too, but it was very faint.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he saw more tubing and like interconnecting pipes connecting to each other.
Mm.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he felt like it was something terrestrial.
Yeah.
And it was in fact silent, right? Completely.
Yeah. But it was weird too. I forgot to mention that when it was going over us, I remember right before it went over us, we could hear like the wind. You can hear like traffic down the street.
Mm.
There was a train that was going off kind of off, down there's a train track that's way kind of far away. You can still hear the train because it's like in the middle of the night. And when that UFO went over our heads, I couldn't hear the wind. I couldn't hear traffic. I couldn't hear nothing.
How far, it's hard to judge distance sometimes, but how far above you would you say it was?
I think it was treetop level.
Oh,
So
wow.
about like, so 150 feet maybe.
Mm. And
Yeah.
how long do you think it was? Seems like it was moving quite slowly then, right? I mean, how many
Yeah,
seconds do you think you guys saw?
It was about between 5 and 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a long time.
So-
I always say in my encounter, it was 5 seconds, but if you really count out 5 seconds, it can be a long time if you're looking at something really strange and it can change your life.
It did. It seemed like it went over our heads. To me, it seemed like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But there's.
Probably more like 5. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it is plenty of time to get enough details to go, okay, that was really freaking weird. I mean,
Yeah.
so when you say that it kind of dematerialized or disappeared, do you think that it was something it was interacting with in the sky, or it just had some kind of a technology we're not aware of and it just turned that on?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's some kind of technology that it had on that turned on its cloaking device or something.
How long did it take to blink out of, and blink is the wrong word, but dematerialize out of vision?
Maybe like 2 seconds.
Mm.
Because I can see it like, it's kind of like, Minecraft, how it's all those little squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Like each square was like, it was like slowly going into nothing. Like it was, and like you're back to looking at like the sky and the trees.
Okay, it's cool you just said that, because I was going to ask you, Ben, if you've ever seen, oh God, I never remember which one it was, but there's been so many now. One of the Avengers movies, I'm assuming, that ship that could basically take, it was reflecting the sky to the bottom of the ship, and then that way anything underneath would not see it. So, if you take something like that at night, it just seems like we wouldn't have any chance to, as far as catching something like that if it was activated.
Yeah. It was kind of weird because as it was going over my neighbor's yard, I can still see the bottom of it, but then I can kind of see the side. And it looked like it wasn't that thick. It was like really thin to me, it looked like. But all I could see was the blue was what's mainly I could see was the blue donut glow. But I can see the outline and the shape of it.
Yeah.
Because it blocked out the stars, because there was a lot of stars out that night. There was no moon. And it was, and plus there was lights, from other houses around. It kind of made it light up a little bit.
Now, he was shining the flashlight in the sky to kind of show you how, things disappear. It's hard to see stuff. And was the flashlight still on as it first came into view for you guys? Or was he in shock and it just stayed on?
I'm trying to remember. No, because I remember he was telling me like how the city and the town lights make the stars harder to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're up in the mountains, you could really see them. And at that time, I've never been really camping or out in the mountains, so he was telling me about that. And so he goes, so for example, if I shine my light up, and right when he did that, that's when the UFO came in.
Mm.
And he was like, kind of like this, we're both stunned looking at this thing. And he had the flashlight, and I remember he turned towards me with the flashlight, and like he put it down by his, because we're laying down on a blanket. And he turned, like rolled over to me and like had the flashlight like by him.
Yeah.
I guess he had to turn it off because I don't remember it shining in my eyes.
Right. So I suppose that would be like one of those old, like the cop flashlights, like a mag light, right? Really, really heavy. Sometimes they're
it's like
really
square.
long.
No, it's more like square.
One of the big ones.
With a handle.
Gotcha.
You can hold it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, those are serious flashlights. Some of those have a lot of the what do they call it? The lumens. However many lumens it is.
Yeah.
So this thing.
Well, this was 1994, so it's one of those cheapy ones.
Yeah. It worked good enough that night. No, I mean, don't you wonder though, what if you didn't have a flashlight? What if you were just out there going, "Hey, we're gonna look at the stars," and you're kind of into doing that, and he's big into this thing. I mean, was it the intent? Was it out there? Why did it come over?
Who's that exactly? So me and my friend, we talked about that all the time when he was alive. Like, what does that mean? Why did they do that?
Yeah.
Did they know that we were fascinated by stars and space? And the government, and if it was government, they're like, hey, there's a bunch of kids laying out in their yard, let's mess with them. But
I mean, what do you
for
guys
me,
think?
at the time, I didn't think it was government. When it happened, I was thinking strictly alien or something out of this world. And so, like, after that, I had, like, nightmares for, like, months. Like, scary dreams. Some of them seemed really real. Like, I sent you that picture of the alien, like, leaning around the corner.
Yeah.
That to me, that felt like it really happened. Because I woke up in the middle of the night, felt like some presence was there in my bedroom. And I remember looking over to where there's, like, a thing that goes in to my door that goes out to the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call? I don't know call that. But he was like, felt like someone was there, and I was like trying to focus on, like, I was thinking that I was seeing something, and as my eyes kind of adjusted because I just woke up, I saw an outline of a being there, standing there, and for like that split second when I saw that, I instantly rolled over and put the covers over my head, shaking in fear, like scared.
But then
like, go away.
You did in fact fall back asleep, or you fell back asleep and then you were wondering if it happened really, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your really, gut feeling on that? Do you think it was a dream?
That in that situation, no. That one felt real because I was awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know for sure that was not a dream.
Yeah.
Wait till you guys see this drawing. See, now I assumed, and that's why I kind of teased that in the beginning. I was like, I'm not going to ask about that second drawing yet. I thought that was something that because you brought up you had some nightmares. I thought it was just tied into a dream. But so to you, that thing really was in your room.
Yeah. Well, I did have nightmares of the beings too. I've had nightmares where, like, there's one dream that I had where I was with a bunch of my friends, and I was at a friend's house that had a swimming pool, and it was like late evening in my dream, and I was, for some reason in the dream, I was standing by the sliding glass door looking out to all the people in the pool, all my friends, and I just was watching them in my dream, and I had this feeling like I should warn them about something, and I didn't know why. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why they did this in my dream, but the aliens started crawling over the fence of my friend's, he had a fence around in his yard. And they were like little short ones, like 3 foot, 4 foot tall aliens started crawling. There was like 3 or 4 of them crawling over the fence.
I mean, like classic grays, right?
Yeah, classic grays, yeah. And so I slid the sliding glass door open and told everyone, get out of the pool, run! Like, I was serious, like scared, like, get going, get out of here, come on. And then as I was saying that, this really tall one, it was like maybe 6 foot, 7 foot tall, being appears out of nowhere by the pool. It was weird because it kind of had like a robe thing around it, and it had like a big collar. I don't know why, like Dracula kind of thing. But it was weird because it was one of the grays too, but instead of having 2 eyes, it had another eye on the top of its head, it looked like. I don't know if it was an eye or maybe some kind of hat or helmet or something. But he like speak to me in his mind saying, you can never run. And that when he said that to me in my dream, I instantly woke up, like sweat. Like I was totally sweating when I woke up. I was like, oh my God.
So what happened? What happened first? So, in the timeline, you see the UFO, you start having the nightmares, but is the first nightmare in fact a nightmare, or was it in fact seeing the being that was peeking around the corner?
The being the one that's peeking around the corner, that happened probably a month after I saw the UFO. Okay.
But you had already been having nightmares.
I had like 2 at that time.
Okay, before you saw the being.
Yeah. Yes.
Had you ever had any dreams where you were, up on the ship or in close proximity to these things?
There's only one time that I had a feeling that I was on the ship or on a ship, because I don't know if it was the exact ship, was the time when I woke up. It was, summertime. This was like a year later, and I woke up. It was, summertime. So I was thinking, what can I do? It's summertime. I wonder if so and so's can come out and hang out, whatever. And I was eating breakfast cereal. I remember eating cereal. I was eating Fruity Pebbles. That's what I was eating. I was eating Fruity Pebbles cereal, and I started choking, and then I sneezed at the same time. And as I sneezed, I got a flashback of me walking in this corridor. It was really tight corridor, like round hallway. Like, the wall would go up and then round and then back down. And everything was like welded together. Like it was like one thing, one unit. And I was walking around it. And it was very cold and damp and dark. And I didn't know where I was. And I was freaking out. And it was like just that little split second of seeing that in my head. And I wasn't even thinking about UFO or aliens or anything. I was thinking about hanging out with my friends. And
this is really conspiratorial, and forgive me, everyone, and you, Ben, for me asking this, but maybe you people talk about implants and all kinds of things. Maybe dislodge something or move something, and it just triggered that memory. Not that I'm saying, I don't hope that that actually happened to you and you were in that place, because it sounds horrifying, but I mean, that is very random. You're awake eating Fruity Pebbles and you sneeze, and then you see this very detailed vision. Yeah. That's very, very
That kind of freaked me out. I instantly called my friend that saw the UFO, and I told him about it. He's like, "That's crazy."
Now, what about him? Did he see any beings or have nightmares?
Yes, he's had some crazy nightmares. I think this one time he told me he woke up in the middle of the night and he had to go to the bathroom. So he went to the bathroom and he came back to his bedroom. And as he was coming back to his bedroom, his whole bedroom was lit up with a light. And he was like, "What the hell?" And he got closer and walked to the doorway. And as he got to the doorway, the light went away. It just kind of like faded away and out the window.
So that wasn't a dream then?
Yeah.
Well, we don't think, right? He thinks that he was awake and went to the bathroom and came back.
Yeah. But it's the middle of the night, his hallway, everything, all his lights are off in his house. And so, that reminded me, there's a few times, I think it happened twice, where I would start to wake up in the middle of the night and my eyelids are still closed, but felt like there was like a bunch of like lights in front of me. And as I was waking up, I would open my eyes, and the light would in my room would still kind of be there for a split second, and then it would just go out the window or gone. Like it was disappeared. I'm like, okay, what was that about? That's kind of weird. And that happened right soon after too, of seeing the UFO. It was what the hell?
I mean, aren't you a little, or maybe not now, maybe you are, I don't know. I mean, weren't you a little, worried at that point that there was really something going on?
Yeah. At this time, I was so scared that I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't even want to talk to my mom or my brother. My brother knew because after we saw the UFO, my brother was in his room, across the hallway, and he was going to bed. I forgot to mention this. When we got back inside my room, we went to his room, and we opened the door, and we're like, "We saw a UFO! We saw a UFO!" We're freaking out. And he's like, "What? I just turned off the TV because it wasn't working, and I had to go to, my TV just stopped working. So I just said, forget about it. I'm going to bed." And I said, "What?" We were all like, "What? What happened? Tell us." And he said that he was watching TV, and it just went straight to fuzz, like static. And he's like, "Really? Come on. What the heck's going on?" And it stayed like that for 4 or 5 seconds. And he just said, "Forget it," and turned off the TV because he was getting tired. And when he told us
that's odd timing.
Yeah, and we're like, "What?" That even made it seem like what we saw was real. Like something happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned to swing back to the flashlight. So what happened to the flashlight?
When we went back to my room, we decided to write down, tell our story. He wrote down what he saw, I wrote down what I saw. And as we were talking about it, he turned on the flashlight, and the flashlight was so dim. Like the light was this really like barely dim, like it wasn't working. So he took the battery out, put it back in, screwed the top back on, turned it back on. It was still dim. I was like, what the heck? I just got this battery. I just bought this battery today for this situation, what we were doing. I was like, that's weird. How did the power go out that quick out of that battery? It was weird. It was crazy. I don't know. It's weird. I remember that.
So, the whole government thing, though, doesn't tie in with what you saw, though, right? In your bedroom.
Yeah, but I kind of have a theory that the government is working with aliens. Of all this stuff that I've looked up and listened to, podcasts and looked on the internet, my theory is that, they could use the aliens for something, kind of like scare me or actually abduct me and take me there. But I don't know. For the longest time, I always thought that it was strictly alien, but my friend kind of convinced me that it is government, and other stories that I've heard on podcasts and stuff, that it could be government, because the way that they're made, because aliens are, in my opinion, that they strictly make the disc shapes, or that's my theory anyways.
Well, no, a lot of people do think that. They think that the government has a treaty with them and that they are allowed to take a certain amount of human beings, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody, except for those taken, live happily ever after. So, what about, have you heard the theory about the blood type? The Rh negative thing. Some people think that the blood type might have something to do with it.
I kind of heard something about that, but I'm not fully detailed on what that is.
Yeah. Or some people think some people with specific backgrounds, if you're German or if you're, wherever you're from, here or there. Some people think that may be a certain vein to attract these things to you. It is very strange that you guys are just hanging out in the backyard and over this thing moseys, and then a month later, or less than a month later, you see that being in your room.
Yeah.
Have you ever found any, and again, I apologize for this question, but people holler at me if I don't ask it. Have you ever found anything weird on your body? People talk about scoop marks and bumps that may be an implant or something.
No, not necessarily. There's this weird cartilage thing behind my ear, but I think it's just cartilage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, and it's been there, and I can touch it and move it, and it doesn't hurt or anything, and it's been there for years. And
well, that's what they all say, Ben. They all say it doesn't hurt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
See, but I like that, because you're like, it's cartilage, For the most part, it's not going to be an implant, guys.
Yeah, because I don't want to, because during this situation, during this time, I was frightened. I was scared. Yeah. I thought if I talked about it, or, because I even thought about calling Coast to Coast and telling them my thing, telling them my story. Mm-hmm. But I thought if I did, then it's going to enhance it,
Right.
And then if it is government, they'd be like, oh, they know he knows. Let's go haunt him more. Let's go scare the shit out of him. I don't know. This because it's pretty scary. It was, the way that they have power over you and you can't do nothing about it. It's just like, that's not fair. It's not fair.
Right. No, and it's very terrifying because, you're powerless. A craft that can do that. And then if you're just sleeping in your room and all of a sudden, there's this being standing in your home, well, as I've always said, that's really messed up because that's your safe place. Yeah.
Soon after I saw that being or felt like that there was something there, I came up with this idea of getting a surge protector, you can plug in a bunch of plugs and it has a little switch on it. And I put Christmas lights in my room, a whole bunch of them on the ceiling, on the walls. And so if I got scared, I can just reach on the side of my bed, hit that switch, and it'll light up my room. And I can see if there's something there. Because there was a few times where I woke up and I felt presence in my room. And I didn't want to look. I just put the blanket over my head and just pray. Just go away.
Did you put the Christmas lights up?
Oh, yeah. I put the Christmas lights up and everything. After that's when I felt like there was a being in my room. I got tired of feeling scared in the middle of the night. like I'd go to bed and be like all tired, and then I'd always wake up like in the middle of the night, like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then being like scared. Be like, sometimes I wake up and I don't know why I'm waking up, and I'll be all sweaty, like I was jogging. Like, why am I all sweaty for? It's like, doesn't make sense.
But you're instantly scared, and you feel a presence.
Yes, yeah. And then I'm like, why am I sweaty? And then I'm like, then I get that feeling of something in my room. So I was like, came up with the idea of making that surge protector.
Right.
My mom thought I was crazy. Like, what the hell are you putting all these Christmas lights in your room?
What did you tell her you were doing it for?
Because I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I mean, when we're kids, we get away with a lot, don't we? And they're like, okay, sure, whatever.
Well, my room was full of movie posters. You know, I was big into 80s movies and stuff. So I had like a bunch of 80s movies posters and, you know, covering my whole room. So you could probably see my wall like once in a while, my actual wall.
If you were moving something.
Yeah.
I mean, so you'd wake up 2, 3 in the morning, which also, there we go again with that same time of night, right? And you'd feel the presence, and you'd be physically affected because you're sweating. So you'd never once turn on those Christmas lights. You would, in fact, just, you know, turn over and go to sleep and just try to act like nothing's going on.
Well, soon after I did the Christmas lights, the fear kind of stuff went away. Like I would wake up knowing that their Christmas lights are there. And if I get scared, it's happened a couple of times, and I would hit the switch, and I would like look, and there would be nothing there. And then I would start thinking to myself, is this in my head? You know, am I doing this to myself? Am I making myself scared? But it's some of the dreams, and that alien that I saw a month earlier felt real. I don't know. It's crazy. It's hard to explain. There's only one time where I woke up and I couldn't move. It was like, what do they call that? Sleep paralysis.
Paralysis.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because it was at the time though. I didn't know what it was. I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm awake, but I can't move my arms. I can't move my legs. I can't move anything. I started freaking out, and I was like trying to move my body, and I couldn't do it. It lasted for a good 3 minutes. I couldn't move.
That's a long time.
And I was freaking out. I was starting to really get scared. And then I was like, just concentrate on moving my hand. So I started concentrating on moving my hand. And eventually I started waking up, and I started opening my eyes, and then I started moving my hands, and then everything else started working. And I was like, okay, that was weird. At the time I didn't know what that was, but I've heard a lot of podcasts and stuff, and I realized it's probably that sleep, whatever you call it. I can't say that word.
Right, and everybody says that the biggest thing is not to freak out, that you do have to focus on moving a toe or a finger or a hand or something small, and then it will help you break out of that, right?
Exactly, yeah. Well, that's what I did eventually. Like after a few minutes, I was like, okay, I got to concentrate on one thing, start moving it. Because I felt like, to me, when I was in that, I felt like I was just a spirit. I was not even in my body. But I was laying down. But I felt myself laying down. It's weird. I don't know if you've ever felt sleep paralysis before.
No, I haven't, thank goodness. I've talked to a lot of people who have, and it just sounds absolutely horrifying.
There's one time that I can tell you real quick that happened to me. I was working. I came home, and I was really tired from work. And I came and laid down in my bed, came to my bedroom and laid down. And as I was like drifting away to sleep, I remember thinking, oh, I forgot to take I can't remember what it was, something out of my car. And so next thing I know, I'm at my car, opening my car door. And then as I was doing that, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought I was laying down. And as I thought that, I felt myself get rushed back into my body. It was weird, like a suction, like into my body. And I like snapped out of it, and I like jerked out of, the weight.
So you're just haphazardly doing astral travel, and you don't even know it, huh?
Yeah, and that's only happened to me once, at one time. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, what the heck? And then I tried doing the, meditation to try to do that, and I could never do it. It's hard for me to meditate because I get distracted or I get sleepy and I just want to sleep.
I hear you. I'm not a meditator either. God bless people that can do it. I just don't have the patience or the mental fortitude or whatever it is. So when this craft very first came into view, what was your initial reaction to it? Were you guys, was the fear there automatically? Obviously, I'm sure shock was there, but were you scared of it straight out of the gate?
Not at first. When I first saw it, I was like confused. Like, what am I looking at? And why don't I hear sound? I remember thinking that. Why don't I hear a sound? And, I was just, what my friend said after it happened, he said it looked like computer graphics. Like something that you put computer graphics in the sky and it looks,
Oh, really?
You can see detail. Yeah.
Like it wasn't really there, like some kind of a hologram or something.
Yeah. So a lot of my friends were thinking, like, all of my friends don't believe us, me and my buddy. They thought that my friend put something on the flashlight and shined it in the sky.
Oh, I got it. So Rick didn't think it was a hologram. Your friends thought that you guys saw a hologram.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought Rick thought that.
No.
Yeah, it wouldn't look quite that good if you put one of those little inserts on a flashlight, I don't think. So
no, exactly.
That's not going to work.
Clouds to reflect.
Yeah. Well, and you had the fog or the mist, around the circles and the blue light and the whole. That's not how that works. At least not back in that day.
There's too much. Exactly. There was too much detail on the ship.
And everybody, when as you're listening to this, if you go to the website, it's the main image for this episode. Ben was kind enough to let me use that. This is his rendition of what they saw that night. So Ben, what about what Rick said about the being that you saw in your room? How did he react to that?
He. Let's see. I'm trying to think back so far.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It's not a problem. I was about that same age back then, so I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and you think a lot differently back then, and I would have been scared shitless too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's had dreams of the beings. I can't remember.
But I mean, he believed you when you said you saw the being, right?
Yes, we trusted each other. We were best friends. We believed in each other, and we spent every day and night like hanging out. We were like really good friends.
So
we were kind of like the low lights in high school. We didn't, I mean, Rick, he was popular kind of, but I was a quiet guy. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was more like shy.
Hey, well, guess what? Just like in the book and the movies, the Losers Club is like the place to be anyway, I mean, honestly,
exactly.
we were all there. Those are the good old days.
Yeah.
I mean, what was his? So he was of the vein, and it's not a crazy thing to think, right? The government side of the ship, but then the aliens could tie in. I totally get that. But what was his opinion then? Did that just reiterate that idea once you told him of this being that you saw in your room?
He didn't tell me. He didn't think it was government until later on, like a good few years down the road.
Okay.
He was thinking, because he started doing studies too. He started looking on the internet and doing studies, and started realizing. He came up to me one day and said, he thinks it might be government. That was the only time I'm like, I don't know about that. That's what I was thinking. I was like, no, I don't think it's government. How does the government have that kind of technology? That's what I was thinking in my head at the time.
I mean, were you kind of bummed out to hear him say that? Because you kind of wanted it to be something off planet?
For me, no. Because with the nightmares and the dreams that I had of the aliens, I didn't want to be involved with.
You were like, I have enough. So government, sure.
If it's government, humans, people, yes, that's good.
Yeah, it helps.
I want to be people.
It helps the terror factor go down maybe just a smidge, especially after seeing that being. Which also, guys, again, intothefrayradio.com, go to the episode, go to the show notes, and then the drawing of what Ben saw in his room shortly after the craft sighting is there.
Yeah. I drew those pictures like maybe 6 months later.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. I used to be really good at drawing, but I can't draw like that anymore.
They're really good drawings.
Flagged off.
That's why I was like, can I use that as the episode image? Here's another question, and I also wonder, what Rick would say, but maybe you'll know, even though Rick's not around to ask.
Yeah.
But would you want to see it again?
Yes, I would, but with other people around.
You mean since Rick already saw it, you would want at least a third party to confirm they saw it as well?
Yeah, because a lot of people that I told the story to, a lot of people didn't believe me. A lot of people. So I kind of like I'll tell people in their work what I saw, and they start laughing at me. I'm like, seriously? I saw what I saw.
Yeah, they laugh until it comes over their damn heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what about Rick? Do you think Rick would say, yeah, I want to see it again?
Yeah, me and him, when he was alive, we were thinking about doing hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I didn't really want to do that because of the fear that I got. And I didn't want to find out more, because at that time I've already had a lot of dreams of them and stuff. And I just didn't want, I don't know, I was just scared to do it. But
rightfully so.
I kind of wish I did, because I'd probably have more to what I saw and more story, like if something actually happened to me, if I actually did get abducted or not, But
I mean, what if we take the alien peeking around the corner totally out of the equation? And yeah, maybe you had some dreams, but you could easily say, oh, well, I had some dreams. They were definitely nightmares.
Dreams, yeah.
If that was the case, then would you be more inclined to maybe find out more of what's buried in there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been to this day, I'm still looking up UFOs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hooked. It's like the people that, go see Sasquatch or see Sasquatch, they're like hooked and they want more.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one and I'm hooked, so I can't imagine if I actually did see one. It would take over my life. I'm pretty sure I'd have to move out of the desert and back into the woods somewhere. Yeah. But I just think that I didn't realize, because I thought that the drawing of the gray was tied into a confirmed nightmare, something that you dreamed. But now that I know that is something you're like, no, that was something I was awake for, that just changes the whole thing,
Yeah. That's what made me come up with the idea with the Christmas lights and the surge protector light switch thing, because I was like, that wasn't a dream. I woke up and I had this fear in my mind, like something was in my room. And so I kind of rolled over and looked towards my doorway, and I could see a shadow of something. And I started, when you squint your eyes trying to focus. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting more detail of the being. And once that split second when I saw that, I instantly rolled over, threw the covers over my head, and started shaking like you're in shock, like fear. Like you can't stop shaking. Like, I don't know if you've ever been into shock. You can't stop shaking. Like I was just in fear, like scared.
And then you just eventually got exhausted and fell asleep?
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
I stayed awake for a good 2 hours, 3 hours.
Oh, God.
And
you didn't move. Too scared
no, I
to
did not move at all. I stayed in one position the whole time.
See, that's terrible. That's horrible. That stays with you. That kind of trauma stays with you. Whether it's ill-perceived or not. So, but it doesn't seem like it is, because the detail of the being, which, again, go to the show notes. Picture is there. The drawing is there. Sorry, not the picture. The drawing. Was there a hallway light on plus maybe a night light in your room to where you saw it pretty well?
Kinda, because I didn't have a night light, but my windows. I had a window that was to my backyard, and then I had a window that went out to the side street. And on the side street, there was a street light. So the street light would kind of but shine more. The light shined more kind of on me. And it was one of those street lights where it's kind of a yellowish color,
the old school kind. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's 94. So I could kind of have a kind of a light. And that's why I said I started focusing my eyes. So I just woke up and I was kind of looking over there. And after a while, after it happened, I was wondering if it was my imagination, but it was too real looking. Like there was something there. Like the next night, I did the same thing. I was going to bed. I turned off all the lights, and I laid there looking towards that way, and I could see my wall. I could see the posters, the 80s posters on the wall. But the night before, I couldn't see those posters. So there's something standing there. It's scary. I don't want to keep talking about it.
Maybe that, no, and I appreciate you doing that. It's not easy to talk about it, even after all these years when I recount mine, even if it's just to somebody at work. You relive it every time you tell it. You relive it. So, maybe the government could just tell that you guys were watching the Explorers and they just wanted to screw with you. Can you imagine? If they could just tell something like let's see how many of these teenagers are watching, a movie that has something to do with space or aliens or something weird, and we're going to screw with them. But how the hell would they know you went outside, though? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many questions, of course, which makes it very strange.
Because, like I told you before, this was the fourth night we were out.
Yeah.
And this was with it, because he would spend the night, like, every probably 3 or 4 days. He'd come over and spend the night. It was summer vacation, so we were in high school. And so he would spend the night, and this is like, we got the idea of going out in my backyard. And so we were out there. This was the fourth night. There's one night where it was just me by myself. I remember that. I went out by myself and laid there. And I counted like 4 satellites and went to bed. I'm like, it's not the same without my best friend. But, so I'm thinking that they might have saw us out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we went out the same time. And we went in early that night. But usually we would stay out there till like 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Lay out there and listen to music. And we actually had my friend that night that we saw the UFO. He actually bought the Explorer soundtrack, and he put it as a cassette tape, and he put the tape in there, and he had it on real low.
Yeah.
And he was playing the Explorers because we really loved that movie. And he had it really low on that night.
Good old cassette tapes.
Yeah. I do remember too, it just popped in my head. We went back to school, the first day of school. I went into class, and there was one of my old friends I was talking to that I didn't see all summer. And we were talking about summer vacation and stuff, and he's like, how was yours? I'm like, I saw something crazy, dude. He goes, what? He goes, I saw a UFO. He goes, I did too. And he told me the date and everything. It was the exact same date.
What?
I forgot to mention this. And I was like, what would you see? And he goes, it was like weird triangle shape, but it went like over, because he was having a barbecue in his backyard with family and friends. And he said that this ship kind of went over, because he lived really close, like probably 4 blocks away from me. And it went over his head, and it was just like, he said he could barely see it, but he could see the little blue lights on it. He said he just saw blue lights.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
So, because you guys saw it pretty late. It was like 1 a.m. or something. So for the barbecue, they were still out there pretty late, or had they seen it before you guys did?
Yeah, well, his family and everything. I remember his family they like to party a lot. And they drink beers and barbecue and sit out in the backyard and have the fire pit going. And he invited me a few times, but I was like, nah, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, being up north of Seattle, that's a place to do that. I mean, people you got space, you got land, you get the old bonfire going. Heck yeah, that's. Yeah. Well, that is a very interesting corroboration then from your friend, the neighbor. So then do you know the time frame? Did he see it before or after you?
Oh, let's see. I think he told me he saw his around 12:30.
Oh, okay.
And mine was around 1:07. I remember.
Yeah.
That's around 1 o'clock, I should say, because 1:07 is when we wrote down the time. Where we started after we saw it, we started writing it down.
Cool that you guys did that, by the way. That's proper investigation techniques right there. It's note taking.
Yeah, because my friend drew a real quick picture, and then I drew a real quick picture.
Wow, that was your quick picture.
No. I have a real quick
okay. I was going to say, holy shit, Ben, that's a great drawing for quick.
No, that one I drew 6 months later or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, based on your quick drawing and your memory. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a story, what an encounter. I really don't know what to make of that damn gray thing in your room, and that's a whole nother layer of it,
Yeah.
you know? So, nothing, I mean, you know, since you've been an adult, I mean, nothing weird, nothing that makes you think, oh, God, they're still, you know, around.
I don't know, because like things would happen weird, but I just kind of like put them off. Like, I think it was like a month ago. My girlfriend was sleeping out in the living room with our, 3-year-old, because he was having rough sleep. He kind of has rough sleeps. And so she was out there sleeping on the couch, and she said she woke up at 2 a.m. to go, because we have 2 bathrooms. We have the main bathroom, and then we have a bathroom in the hallway. She was going to the bathroom in the hallway, and she says that she's walking past the bedroom. She said the whole bedroom was lit up. Like, I had the light on. I had the light on. And I was like, why would I be up at 2:30 in the morning? I'm like exhausted every day. I'm like, I sleep all night long. I don't ever wake up to go to the bathroom even, because I'm so tired and exhausted from work. I'm standing all day. And so that didn't make sense to me. So that kind of freaked me out. She goes, yeah, the light was on. I was wondering why you were up. And I'm like, I wasn't up. I was asleep.
Did she go in and shut the light off, or was it another kind of light, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm wondering what it was. Maybe I woke up and turned the light on, but the light would have woke me up. Like if the ceiling light was on, or the lamp next to my bed, if those were on, that would wake me up. Like it was like, why is the light on?
Yeah, you probably would have been like, hey, why you turn the light on? I'm trying to sleep. I mean, so you're not you're not a sleepwalker or nothing like that, right? So
no, not that I know of. Yeah. No. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. When she told me that, I was like kind of like getting scared, like, are they coming back? Because one of the last times that I remember having a dream, or maybe if they're real, is when I shortly met my girlfriend. We got an apartment. This was like, I want to say like 7, 8 years ago, something around there. I woke up in the middle of the night, and my girlfriend was sleeping next to me, and I was looking towards her, and I kind of like, rolled over to my side. And as I rolled over to my side, I felt the presence again. And I was like, what the heck? And I kind of like opened my eyes a little bit, and I felt like there was something standing next to the bed looking down over me.
Mm.
Yeah. And I instantly got freaked out. So that scared feeling came back again for all those years.
So not something short, something very tall that could look
tall, yeah,
down on you.
What I kind of felt like, to me, it's kind of weird, but I felt like it was more like a praying mantis looking kind of creature.
Mm.
And it was weird. And the way it kind of moved his head, it kind of reminded me of like when I saw Fire in the Sky, and you ever seen that movie?
Oh, yes.
Where the aliens look weird when they move. They're like electronic looking. Mm-hmm. That's what it kind of looked like to me, the way it moved its head and looked towards me. And this all happened within like a second or two.
But that was something that you could kind of gleam, in your mind, like you just got the sense of the way that it looked and moved, right? You didn't look at it. You didn't see it, right?
The corner of my eye saw it.
Oh,
because I was kind of, because I was, laying on the left side of the bed. My girlfriend's on the right side of the bed.
So you did look at it.
I was looking at my girlfriend at the time, and I woke up, and I kind of rolled on my back. And as I rolled on my back, and I kind of opened my eyes a little bit, I can kind of see something on the side of me.
Oh, that's when you got the glimpse of it. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
my
as
goodness.
I saw all that happen within 2 seconds, I instantly rolled back over to my girlfriend and put the blanket over my head like I was back when I was 16. And I started freaking out again. And I was like, after time went by, I was thinking about that, like a month later, I was thinking, why that happened then,
Right.
And I started getting the theory in my head that they were doing one last check on me, like to see how I am and what I'm doing.
Well, you probably hope it was the last check, right? I mean, you're not really interested in continued contact.
Yeah. And I was wondering why it looked like it was weird.
Yeah, why would they send the mantis then?
Yeah. And then that's when I started looking into the internet and stuff and find out there's actually is mantis aliens and stuff. And those ones are like I've heard that those ones are the cruel ones, and they're mean and do
Yeah,
experiments.
they're supposed to be the a-holes out of all of them, the biggest a-holes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, great. Why does it have to be that one? I'll go back to the gray.
Right. You're like, the gray was bad enough. I don't need the mantis. I mean, with the light thing and all that, it does kind of make you wonder, right? You kind of, I'm sure you're going, look, I don't need all this stuff, you know? I'm sure, like, everyday life is, can be enough without having to worry about that.
Yeah, I have 2 boys, so I have 2 little boys, so I'm like, stressed enough with them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach them right and stuff, but yeah, I just thought it'd be cool to call you and, or get a hold of you and tell you my story, because my friend died, so I can't really talk to him. The only other person I can really talk to about this, is my brother. He believes me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's just smiles, okay, son,
yeah,
I love you kind of thing, yeah. And then everybody else is like, not really believes me. My other friend does. My friend that I met at work, which we can go on to if you want to, about the Bigfoot. He was a Bigfoot guy. He was all about, he was a Sasquatch guy. He's all about going out there and looking for Sasquatch. And I was training him at my job.
Yeah, and how does that come up?
It's great. Yeah, he was a Bigfoot guy, and I was telling him, I'm like, so what do you like to do, And he's like, yeah, I'm a Bigfoot guy. I like Bigfoot. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, I'm into UFOs and aliens and curious about them and stuff. And he goes, yeah, you should come with us sometime. And so that's what, me and him became good friends. We're still friends to this day,
Well, but, yeah, I would love to hear the story if you've got the time to tell it. And if you'd like to hear Ben's Bigfoot encounter and a couple of others that he actually shared with me before the call was over, go on over to intothefrayradio.com and click Become an Insider. It's only $4.99 a month or $54 for an entire year. You will instantly get access to this and all other premium content, which includes video episodes. So if you love Into the Fray, please consider supporting it. All right, Ben. You guys have a good night up there in beautiful Washington.
I will, and you have a beautiful night, too.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, I'm so-and-so. I was given this name by my parents. I've been to such and such a college. I've done these things in my profession. I produce a little biography. Buddha says, forget it. That's not true. That's some story. That's all gone. That's all past. I want to see the real you are now. Well, nobody knows who that is. Because we don't know ourselves except through listening to our echoes and consulting our memories. But then there's a real you, and that again leads us back to this question. Who are you? That is the real you. We shall see how they play with this exam by the koans to get you to come out of your shell and find out who you really are. divided on this. They will say, no, we don't believe literally in reincarnation. That after your funeral, you will suddenly become somebody different, living somewhere else. They will say reincarnation means this, that if you sitting here now are really convinced that you're the same person who walked in at the door half an hour ago, you're being reincarnated. If you are liberated, you will understand that you're not. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. There is only the present. That's the only real you that there is. The Zen master Dogen put it in this way. He said, the spring does not become the summer. First there is summer, and then there is spring. When you settle down in the train to read your newspaper and so on, you are not the same person who a little while ago left the platform. If you think you are linking your moments up in a chain. And this is what binds you to the wheel of birth and death. But when you know that every moment in which you are is the only moment, this comes into Zen. A master will say to somebody, get up and walk across the room. And he comes back and he says, where are your footprints? They've gone. So where are you? Who are you? When we are asked who we are, we usually give a kind of recitation of a history.